Hey guys, Dr. Shook here. This is another sauna session, and in today's sauna session, I want to talk to you about something that I find clinically a lot and that a lot of people report that is, quite frankly, it's tragic. And what it is that a lot of people that have thyroid problems have symptoms of depression. And what ends up happening in a lot of these cases is that these people go to their doctor, the thyroid is not checked, and if it is checked, it's not checked thoroughly enough. And an understanding of the physiology of the total thyroid hormone physiology. The doctors look at quantity of hormone only, and that's not the only piece of it. You've got to be able to use it, and there's a lot of ways that can break down. So what ends up happening is people go, they have depression, the doctors prescribe them antidepressants, and in a lot of those people, it can make a big difference, but in a lot of people, it doesn't really help. And there's some research that was put out that showed that in a third of people that take antidepressants that are not effective, when they supplement with thyroid hormone, it actually helps them. And in particular, they use cytomel, which is T3. That's the most physiologically active hormone. So what that tells us is this. It tells us that a lot of these cases of depression, there can definitely be a thyroid-related component. And it makes perfect sense because if you remember and if you followed me at all, you know that I teach a lot, and that I teach a lot about the importance of thyroid hormone and how thyroid hormones, every single cell in the body requires thyroid hormone. And if you don't have thyroid hormones, it can interfere with your neurotransmitters, which are the brain chemicals that these antidepressants affect, that it can affect your ability to manufacture them and for your cells to be sensitive to them. Really, really important stuff. So, anytime there's a problem that's a chronic problem you can't figure out, rule out thyroid. Anytime there's an endocrine problem, you've got hormonal issues, you've got estrogen, progesterone, testosterone issues, whatever, rule out thyroid. I'm telling you, it's such an integral piece of your metabolic health that if you have any problems, rule out thyroid. Rule out thyroid autoimmunity, rule out thyroid quantities to make sure that they're adequate, rule out thyroid conversion from T4 to T3, rule out the fact that your transport of the hormone, the T3 and T4 to the cells, that's adequate by looking at the thyroid binding globulins, these transport proteins, to make sure that they're at the right numbers. Look at the cell sensitivity, look at the nutrients, look at vitamin A, look at vitamin D, look at your micronutrients and your minerals. Look to make sure that you have adequate minerals, that you have zinc and magnesium and all of these important selenium, all these important minerals, so that this normal biochemistry can occur. I think that one of the greatest tragedies that I've seen is where I see people that come in and they've had a diagnosis of like fibromyalgia, or they have depression, and they have been to their doctors and they're with me because I'm the last resort, right? I'm the last resort. And these people, my heart goes out to them because they feel broken. They feel like they truly believe that it's them, right? Like that something is wrong, that they're faulty somehow, and that everyone else is okay, but I'm faulty. Nobody can figure me out. Doctors have told them that there's nothing wrong. They label them with these labels like fibromyalgia, which I don't like it as a diagnosis at all, because basically you go to the doctor and you say, I ache and I hurt everywhere, and the doctor touches a few points on your body and says, yeah, you ache and hurt everywhere. You've got fibromyalgia, which all that fibromyalgia means is you have pain above and below the waist at least 11 of 18 tender points that they touch you, and it's been over 6 months. It is it's basically like they're regurgitating to you what you came to them and said. Like, hey, I hurt all over. And they're like, oh, yes, well, you have fibromyalgia. They might as well have just said, yes, you do have a diagnosis. It's you hurt everywhere, just like you told me in your history. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you an anticonvulsant, or I'm going to give you an antidepressant. Not understanding the mechanism. And there's a lot of different reasons you could have those kinds of problems. Tons of different reasons you could have those types of problems. And I think that is a great tragedy, that we just throw medications at people, and a lot of people don't feel better because the underlying driver, the cause of the problem, hasn't even been attempted to be investigated. It's a diagnosis of symptomatology, and I think it's a tragedy not to do those things in better detail, not to work people up better, because it ends up with a lot of people that feel broken and feel like that there's an inherent problem with them, And really, because the doctors have failed to properly work them up, these people, they believe that it's them, and that it's just something wrong with them. And that's not good. That's a very tragic thing that damages the person. And, I think that if there's nothing else that I hope this video does, is to help you understand that there's more to it. There's more to it. If you're suffering with depression, a lot of people are suffering with depression, and they're not like they're not on an antidepressant. They're not formally diagnosed, but they come to see me and they're like, hey, I have Hashimoto's, I have all these issues, and one of their major issues or major symptoms they report is depression. So I take it really seriously, and I think that it's something that that needs to be better understood, that patients need to understand, people need to understand. Okay, so anyway, Dr. Shook here. I hope you found this helpful, and this was a continuation of the previous video. If you guys want to understand, like I always like to talk to people about how you can learn more. Obviously, watch more of our videos. Everything I just try to teach as much as I possibly can. So try to find topics of interest, and then if you want to know more about trying to figure out like what's going on with yourself, like if you want to look at some of your labs and see what might be happening to your thyroid, I created a guidebook called The 9 Tests Required to Understand Your Thyroid. And that guidebook is basically, it will look at these 9 thyroid related markers, and you can look at your blood work, and you can kind of plug in your blood work and kind of see what those results might indicate. And you'll also be able to see if you're missing some of the markers that I would order on someone that's a new patient or a distance consulting client. So you can have a much better idea of what's going on. I have on that, it's a 14-page report or so. I list in there what those levels could mean if they're outside of the ideal range or if they're outside of the lab range. Okay, so Dr. Shook here. If you're interested in that guidebook, just let us know and we'll post a link to it so that you can get more information. But just be your own advocate. Learn. Continue to research what's going on with you, and don't take a workup or an opinion that you don't agree with. I mean, you can disagree with your doctors and with your diagnosis. Absolutely. Just do it. I just encourage you to do it with respect. And if you don't have a doctor that treats you with respect and that's willing to work with you as a partner and is willing to say, you know what, I'm not sure, maybe you're right, let's look at the ways that we might want to consider what's going on with you, or just tell you that they don't know. Those are all valuable things. You need someone that can work with you honestly and that can also say, look, I don't know, but these are possibilities, so let's consider those. Then I encourage you to consider finding another doctor, and just find someone you're gonna be able to have a conversation with as a human being and not have care completely dictated to you. Okay, so I appreciate you guys again. I appreciate you coming here to learn more about your health. I hope this has been helpful to understand how depression and thyroid hormones are related. And if you need anything from us, just let us know. Thanks. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great